Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear students. I hope that you are doing great by staying safe at home, inshallah. Today we are going to study part 2, lesson 4, unit 5. Part 2 with your activity book, page 58 and 59. So be ready with your activity book, pages 58 and 59. Of course, you remember the last time when we talked about Neil Armstrong, the man who traveled into space and who was the first man to step on the moon. He was a very famous man that after what he had achieved. Today we are going to study in the activity book. So be ready, pages 58 and 59. Okay. The first part is a question reading text. We are going to listen about these parts as we did with Neil Armstrong, but now it's about another person, a famous person. I think it's a woman. Sky high ambition. When you have something you would like to achieve, to the sky high means you have very great things to achieve. Okay, so I have A, B, C, and I think D. We're going to listen to them. Listen with me.
In May 1932, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. She became the most famous female pilot in America and one of the first celebrities at the time.
Okay, this is the first part about a woman, the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, you have to be aware of the underlying pronouns like she, like her, like that. We're going to ask about them later, inshallah. The second part, B.
Amelia was born on the 24th of July, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas. She was an energetic child who loved sports and adventures. Her love of flying started when her father took her to an air show when she was 20 years old. She paid $5 for a 10-minute ride in an aeroplane. She loved it very much. After that, she decided to learn to fly her own plane.
Okay, let's go to part C.
Amelia worked hard to save enough money for her flying lessons and to buy her own plane. After several years, she went on to make many daring flights and set many aviation records.
And the last part here, D.
In June 1937, Amelia began her last flight. It was a 27,000-mile journey around the world and she completed 22,000 miles. But during the last part of the journey, her plane disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. No one has ever found Amelia or her plane.
Okay, as we listen together about Amelia and her achievement or what she wanted to achieve by flying alone. She was the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean, and this part is about her early life before being pilot, and see what she did to achieve her goal, and the last part concerning or about what had happened in her last flight and how she disappeared and no one has ever found Amelia Earhart or her plane after that time. So this is about another famous person, Neil Armstrong, and the pilot Amelia Earhart. Okay, I'm sorry for this. Number 1, read and match the paragraph. I have A, B, C, D as we did with Neil Armstrong. Now I'd like you to match these topics with the parts we have listened to now. Amelia's early life and how she started flying with part, yes, the second one, part B. Number 2, how Amelia became a great pilot. How she became a great pilot. Yes, part C. What happened to Amelia in the end? What happened? D. And one of Amelia Earhart's greatest achievements in part A. Okay, now go back and read and re-listen again to the text and find or answer these questions. Number 1, what did Amelia do in 1932? Go back and find the answer of this question. You will find that she flew alone across the Atlantic Ocean. Number 2, when was she born? When was she born? She was born in 1897. Number 3, when did her love of flying start? Yes, when she was 20 years old. Number 4, what did she do after she bought her own plane? What did she do? Yes, she made daring flights, brave ones. Number 5, where did her plane disappear in 1937? It disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. Now, going to the pronouns. Underlined pronouns in line 3, number 1. In line 3, she refers to, yes, Emilia. Number 2, her refers to, yes, Emilia's love of flying. Number 3, in line 9, it refers to flying. Number 4, that in line 10 refers to her first flight. Number 5, in line 14 refers to her last flight. So I have that refers to her first flight, and it in line 14 refers to her last flight. Okay. Number 4, or exercise number 4. Now I'd like you to replace the nouns or the underlined words with me with it, he, or she, or her. So replace the underlined words below with it, he, she, or her. Emilia Earhart. Interesting facts. Her full name was Emilia Mary Earhart. Emilia. And instead of Emilia, we're going to write down the pronoun she. Was named after Emilia apostrophe S, two grandmothers. I think, yes, her two grandmothers. Okay? The second part. When Emilia, when, yes, she. So we can replace this word, Emilia, with she. She was a child. She had a large black dog called James. James, it's a dog, but it had a name. So he had his name because he didn't like strangers. During the First World War, Emilia left college and went to Toronto, Canada, to be with, yes, her sister. She helped nurses look after soldiers hurt in war. Yes. In 1922, she bought a callback car, a kind of callback car, a car. She called it. She called the car. It named the car, gave the car a name. Emilia, yes, she wrote a book, magazine, and newspaper articles, and she also gave lectures. So we replaced the underlined words with the pronouns that refer to these nouns or names or words. Okay? So now again we are going to write a description of someone who did something special. The last time I asked you to write about a famous person in history. Now I'd like you to write about anyone who did something special. Choose one of the ideas. Who will be this one? Someone who did something important for the first time. Someone who broke a world record. Someone who did something very brave or adventurous. Make notes. What happened, where it happened, and when. Organize your notes into sections. The person's greatest achievement, their early life, what happened to them in the end. So I'd like to see what you are going to write, inshallah. That's for now. This video have finished. Now we finished lesson 4. Thank you for watching with me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.